Today is August 7th, the day after Hiroshima Day, 2 days before the Nagasaki Day. And I thought I would take a bike ride on this bike I got. Now this bike is, I don't know, it's like a 17-inch frame. It could be a 19-inch frame, I'm not actually 100% sure, but the seat is 2 inches too small. But I said, you know what, to break it in, I have to take a good bicycle ride to Sanibel, even if it's not made for Summerlin or, I don't know if this is called Summerlin or McGregor Boulevard anymore. I guess it's still called McGregor. So I'm on McGregor right now, and then it joins up with Summerlin here, but the part of the road going towards Sanibel is also McGregor Boulevard, because that used to be McGregor Boulevard, but it would make more sense if they just renamed it Summerlin. So anyway, it's a beautiful day out. The humidity's kind of low. It feels like not really a fall day, but you could feel that there's change in the air, and it's kind of a weird, interesting, nice feeling. And the air right now has a little lower humidity than normal. I know I'm making a terrible. Sorry, man. Oh, terrible. Oh, thank you. I already don't like this thing. Check it out. Oh. Yep. The only way to get a good feel for this bike is to check it out. Go for a nice spin. Just a gorgeous day. I cleaned my sunglasses so it looks exceptionally gorgeous. I still got these sunglasses I have to retire. These things have been through like a war zone with me. One thing I don't like about this bike is it's only 27.5-inch wheel frame, and I've been addicted to 29-inch. So I think I may be selling this, but I still want to give it one good spin on the beach. I sprayed it with WD, I sprayed it with some carb cleaner, and I got some garage door lube, which really does a good job. It cleans and greases parts, so especially gears and brakes. And axles, it makes them like, it makes them not squeak at all. So again, I aligned the front wheel because it was misaligned when I bought it. I mean, badly misaligned, almost like the guy took a spill. But the tire spin's good. It's not wobbly whatsoever. It's perfectly straight, and the back wheel is same. It's got V brakes though. A little disappointing. I'd like to have disc brakes, but you know what, V brakes are fine. I shouldn't complain. Especially when you're going to the beach. V brakes are actually better than disc brakes because they're higher up on the wheel, so you can go through more water, more sand, and more waves. The only problem is that once your rim gets wet, a V brake won't stop you. But then again, if you're on the beach and you're in 1 foot of water bicycling, you're having a great time. What difference does it make? Especially if you're in 1 foot of water and there's a 1 foot wave on top of that 1 foot of water coming at you. That's awesome. Yeah, I never realized how fun it would be to beach and bicycle until I took my bicycle out. Not necessarily on the beach, because I always bicycle on the beach, but once you bring it out on a sandbar and you have to jump from sandbar to sandbar, that just it brings it up another level. Another level of enjoyment. I mean, you haven't done bicycling until you've done beach bicycling. And you haven't done beach bicycling until you take your bike out on the sandbars. Now, there's a really wicked sandbar on Sanibel down by Blind Pass right now on the Captiva side. It is wicked. Only on low tide would I even attempt it, and there are parts you gotta wear. I'm wearing my surf walk. I'm bicycling with my surf walkers on right now because I know I'm gonna have to step into the water. So that's a word of caution. Definitely wear your surf walkers. The last weekend I wore accidentally. I was rushing out of the house. I went to Fort Myers Beach, and I was wearing just my casual shoes I normally wear just for garage selling. And I bought another set of casual shoes. So the pair I was wearing was like an older set. I was going to retire them in Las Vegas, but I had to step off 1 or 2 times in the water, and those casual shoes and salt water did not get along. Literally within a day, the sole was falling off, and I said, nah, I'm not even going to. I mean, I have rubber cement, but I don't want to. I've been saving that to do tire repair jobs. I don't want to waste it repairing my shoes. So. And shoes at garage sales, I can get for $1 a pair, even nice ones. So it's not even worth the glue to fix it. So I toss them in the garbage. A lot less pain and aggravation. And I can save the glue for tire jobs, both on my bike and my cars. I'm raw. So anyway, I have to admit, this bicycle is, even though it's a steel frame Huffy, and I would prefer a carbon fiber, but so my eyes are still looking out there, not in the $7,000 range, that's for sure. But if I'm going to take a bicycle on the sandbar, I ain't spending those $7,000 to do that. That's for sure. I mean, I might as well buy a jet-powered bicycle that's amphibious too, right? Wow. I mean, that'd be a good market to make an amphibious bicycle that could go like from Sanibel right to Pine Island, and then from Pine Island to Cayo Costa, Cabbage Key. Well, that'd be sweet. Now, talking about that, there is some nice sandbars at Redfish Pass, and the pass just north of that, where Port Charlotte is. I would love to take the bicycle out there. Even down by the Lover's Key, there's a sandbank at low tide, which goes out pretty far, about 100 yards, and it's about 20 yards wide, and it's really tempting. I mean, at low tide, to almost hold the bicycle, weight up on it, and get out there. But I don't know, water in that area, it's kind of backwater, so you need good wave action to make the sand firm, to get all the air out of it. And when you have backwater waves, it doesn't take all the air out. And then, you get all these crustaceans and crabs that like to burrow holes, and they're constantly refilling the holes with air, so it makes the whole sandbar like mud. And anyway, oh man, this is gorgeous. Oh yeah, this is definitely picturesque. Look at these trees. It's gorgeous. Everything is vivid green. Vivid. I mean, it rained only like a dusting yesterday, but just enough to make everything sparkle. Look at the sandbars out there. I'm looking out about 100 yards offshore. There's a huge sandbar. Must be about 40 yards wide. Very tempting. If I owned a house over here in the water, I would have to have a dock that goes out 100 yards, so it would empty out on that sandbar. And that'd be my pool. I wouldn't even have a pool. I personally am sick and tired of maintaining a pool and a hot tub. I mean, I go in the pool maybe, if I'm lucky, on average once a month. I don't know the reason why I go in. Maybe something blew in the pool and I had to jump in and get it. I don't know, but we don't have company anymore. Our kids are grown, moved out, empty nesters. At that point, it's time to sell the house and move on to a bigger bigger house but with no pool, because you want to do more traveling. Not necessarily a bigger house, but a newer house with modern conveniences, everything up to the art, low voltage, lighting, 12-volt lighting everywhere, LED light bulbs, and lighting where you would expect it now, like you could do like emergency lighting. If the power goes out, you can have a backup battery bank providing power for like a low voltage air conditioning system, and low voltage lighting, even emergency lighting if power goes out. Well, that would be ideal. Something that you can go totally off grid with. And that's pretty much the way of the future, because you could say the grid is more efficient and stuff, but and the price of fuel, like Florida Power and Light just raised my prices on me, a good 30%. It gets, the idea is the power grid is cheaper than each one trying to generate their own power and pollute the environment that many times over. You have the power grid. There's one big power plant that efficiently makes power, whether it be by clean burning coal, whether it be by nuclear power, whether it be by natural gas, which is clean burning, or you have some kind of either gasoline or diesel plant that, or even burning compost, burning the wood the trees and brush that you have curbside pickup every week. If that's the idea behind the power grid, is it produces electricity cheaper than it would the individual and more cleaner. But when you have the power company trying to jack up its prices to the point where you could make a propane generator that cinders wood chips and produces propane and methane, where you could compress the propane and methane to save for a nighttime use or a rainy day use. And that would also power a 15 to 20,000 watt generator, which would power the house. So you'd have more noise pollution locally. You would have smoke burning, yes, locally, but if every house had that, the atmosphere would be smoky. So I think instead of raising the price, they should lower it, because everyone is putting their palm fronds out, so they're getting free energy in Lee County with all the compost that's put out, and they have a power generator that burns trash and burns the wood so efficiently. So I don't know why they're raising their prices. So they should actually cut their prices and give us a little discount, because we're doing such a good job giving them all our free compost, not charging them. All I can say is that it only costs about $300 to make a propane generator, and then if you want to make the actual turbine yourself to generate the electricity, you could do that for another $600, and then get a automatic power switch, or just go completely off grid. And if you went off grid, though, you would have to have redundant power, so you'd need two of these things, which is even more air pollution. But long story short, for a little extra aggravation and making sure you have enough wood chips and making sure that everything is burning okay, you're going to save $200 to $300 a month electricity. So it will pay for itself in 6 months. That's the thing. So I think whatever it is, Lee County here, they need to get real and give us a bone. I mean, they're charging everybody $200 to $300 a month. Wow. even little condos pay like $150 a month. And I understand that the power grid is being stressed with all these new people coming in Florida. But Florida's got a minimum of 4 nuclear power plants as well. So when you have nuclear power plants and you have yard waste generators that burn this stuff and generate power, I mean, you're not dealing with the price of gas, the price of oil. You're practically, it's practically cheaper to make the energy from those means than it is to make from solar power. Solar power only makes a marginal amount of power, but propane, when it's burned, only has 90% the energy of gasoline, but because it burns at, I think it's like 270 or 260 degrees, whereas gasoline is like 330. And when you cinder wood, it burns at like 240. So there's enough propane and methane left over that, basically cutting up maybe 10 palm fronds would supply your house enough power for the entire day. With cinder like that. Anyway, for those people out there that want to make propane generators, and I'm one of them too. There are options. So solar panel. The one big drawback about solar panels, they like to put solar panels on your roof, and the problem with that is that you have to have a roof that's like a 50-year roof. You can't have if you put solar panels on top of asphalt shingles, chances are the asphalt shingles are still going to wear out in 20 years, and you're going to have to replace them. And if the solar panel is in the way, bingo, now you have to have someone take off the solar panels gingerly. And where are you going to find a roofing company that's going to spend the time doing that? They're not. They're not going to warranty anything. So, the best thing is to have a solar power driveway where you can, it's generating power all day long, or just get solar interlocking those hard plastic roofing tiles that are solar. Those things have a 100-year life, and that way you wouldn't have to worry. It makes sense, right? But that right now that costs a lot of money. So anyway, so the nice thing about propane, if you could generate it yourself, is if you bottle it, then bingo, now you have a power supply for your car. And it's a clean burning thing. So, electronic fuel injection, that's fine. But propane is clean burning. You're not going to get all that soot. And because it has a lower burning temperature than gas, it'll be more reliable. You'll have probably less knocking. And it will probably clean out your engine anyway if you want to still run on dual fuel. And it's something that will never go away. And if there's a gas shortage, you won't have to worry about it because you'll be generating your own fuel. So it makes sense. For lawnmowers, convert them to propane, weed whackers, other farm equipment, like not just lawnmowers, but if you have an ATV or something, it makes sense to generate your own. And then of course you can power your own house, especially at night. That's the key, because solar only works from the day. The new solar power that's out today, they do have those infrared ones. They're called the 3-way, and they can generate power from infrared light. And I'm not sure how much infrared light there is at night, but I know the sun emits about 60% of its power is infrared, not visible light spectrum. So if you can tap into infrared, you'll generate more power than you will visible light. And infrared also works at night, but I think you're only going to get that when the moon's at full. I don't know, but propane propane works, whether it's light or day. The only thing propane doesn't work, and solar doesn't really work that well either, is when it rains. So when it rains, solar does work at like 20%, and propane, as long as the wood is dry and it's sheltered, then it'll work when it's raining too. The wood though has to be dry though. When you first load it into the hopper, it has to be dry. So there's more like you have to wait for the wood to kind of like die and dry out for 3 weeks so it can cinder correctly. But once it's nice and dry and brittle, it's very combustible. You just want to make sure that the wood is dry enough so that it doesn't put itself out when it's cindering. Sometimes you can get away with putting a little bit of candle wax on the top of the wood, and when that heats up, that melts, and that gives wood this enough kind of like oil that burns at a low temperature as well, and it keeps the fire burning. So there's little tricks to the trade on that. Someone's fishing out in the water using I'm not sure if it's a paddleboard or if it's a sailboard, but he's fishing. Right, yeah, this bicycle ride's a little bit slower than my other $35 bike. This bike I bought for $70, so we'll call this bike my $70 bike. And it's got a steel frame. It's a little disappointing. My other ones has, my $35 bike has, I'm not sure if it's a steel frame or aluminum frame, but it's lightweight. It's a lot lighter than this. This one is definitely heavier. So, and that one I have 65 pounds of air in the tire. So cruising is a lot nicer. This one only has, these have the big fat tires. So I'm relegated to driving slow speed. But because it's got the big tires, we're gonna see how nice it rides on the beach. The gear shifting's been pretty good. The chain hasn't skipped off. A $35 bike, sometimes it does that. I love riding my $35 bike, don't get me wrong. That is a great bike for the sandbars. 29-inch wheel, it just puts it 3 inches higher than a 26-inch. And this is 27.5. I was told that the tires, when they're maximum inflated, you get an extra 1.5 inches, so it may feel like a 29, but still, you're pedaling at 27.5. So I don't know what the math is, but I could feel it's about 10% less. Whereas a 29-inch over a 26-inch, I feel there's somewhere between 30 and 50% improvement at the same tire pressure, same 65 pounds. I feel like I'm getting 30 to 50% more power in every stroke. So if you're a guy, you're at least 5'10" or larger, definitely get a 29-inch with a minimum 19-inch frame. Don't go smaller than that. 21-inch would be better. Try to get carbon fiber or at least hollow aluminum. Carbon fiber is the best. Yeah, you want front and back suspension. You don't realize back suspension, a lot of bikes don't have it, but I tell you, it makes a world of difference when you go over a bump. When you go over a bump with just front forks, if you have nice front forks, it definitely cushions it, but you feel it going over the back one. You know, it's like, why even have a front fork at all? I mean, you can just almost jump the front fork. You don't really need it if you're going to hit a bump, but the back one, that's where you feel it on your bump. Need to have that back suspension, and it has to be dialed in just right. You want it nice and loose so that when you hit something, the back the back suspension absorbs the entire shock. Because if you're bicycling a lot, like I do, at 50 to 100 miles a trip, your bum gets sore. And when you don't have a back suspension, it gets sore a lot faster. You don't feel it, but it's just a minute sore that every time you pedal, you're getting that much more injured. Now, granted, I have a nice, on my Jameis bicycle, that one costs a little bit more. That one's got a nice seat. I could take that nice seat, which is almost, it doesn't have its own shock, but it has like a built-in seat absorption. And I'm telling you, when I ride on that, it's smooth. I don't feel a thing. I should take that seat off and put it on my $35 bike for those. But, I don't know. Jameis right now, that's more my showpiece bike. My goal is to get a Maxxis, a 100% Maxxis bike. Carbon fiber, yes. Decked out with everything. I want hydraulic shocks. I mean, hydraulic shocks, of course. But I want hydraulic brakes, hydraulic shocks, disc brakes, both suspension, onboard computer, and it would be nice to have a carbon fiber frame with built-in lithium carbon battery. So for those times where you're just out of energy and you can't make it up the Sanibel Bridge, I can just flip on that power. It would take me to the top. Even the Fort Myers Beach Bridge. That one actually has more of a gradient than the Sanibel Bridge. The Sanibel Bridge is taller, but the Fort Myers Beach Bridge has a tighter grade. I'm looking down at the sandbar here. The tide looks kind of in, so but that sandbar looks beautiful. You could just lazily swim across that. Oh man, makes you feel like you're in the Keys. It looks like the tide's coming in. I mean, there is wind coming from the southeast, so the waves are kind of blowing from southeast to northwest, but it looks like the tide's coming in as well. $35 bike. I am getting about 30% less power on this bike than the other one. It's sad, but it could be because of the larger tires, more surface areas touching the road. That's the thing, you buy a bike, you don't want to spend a lot on a bike unless you know absolutely for sure. Especially $7,000. Wow, that's ridiculous. You have to know, spend that much money, you have to be a fanatic. Get that money coming out of your eyeballs. But, bicycles break down, stuff wears out, that you don't want to put the stuff on, you don't want to spend $7,000 and put that, over a mantle place, never to be used, Wow, I see some flotsam floating in the water here. I'm trying to make out what it is. It looks like a garbage bag. Oh, looks like one of those big, hefty black garbage bags. Interesting. I wonder if it's full of money. Money bag. That'd be terrible if you were a boater and you had a bag of money and you were going to do an exchange, whatever, and you had a couple $100,000, and then a gust of wind came and blew it overboard, and you didn't realize it until it was too late, and then you look back and all you see is the expanse of the ocean and you don't know where or which way it blew. Wow. Oh my God, that'd be heartbreaking. That's why you always take precaution no matter what you're doing, no matter how easy the task is, how trivial it is. Even if it's a repetitive task that you do over and over again, always take precaution. If you're cutting stuff, you sure you wear gloves, goggles. Like when I cut the lawn, I wear a face plate so it protects my entire face. And a couple times, the weed whacker and the lawnmower grind on something and it shoots it. I don't know how it does it, but whether it ricochets or just shoots it, and it hits my faceplate at such intensity that if I didn't have it there, that would have made a permanent scar. So, yeah, you gotta take precautions. Alright, we got a little nice slope going into Sanibel. I'm getting a tiny headwind, maybe half a mile per hour. So, but it's enjoyable. I'm telling you, it's evaporating my perspiration, and it's making me a little bit cooler bicycling, which is nice. The sun's got a tanning index at least of a 9.5. I put on sunblock 30, but a good dosing of it. So it's almost 10 o'clock in the morning. So it's still pretty early, and it's still nice and cool relative. Sometimes at this in the morning, it could be 95 degrees already, but right now it feels like it's about 87. So it's still pretty nice. And the traffic coming into Sanibel is pretty light. I expected it to be more, because this is like the last weekend before school in Florida starts. So I expected families to really make a last push to enjoy themselves before the fall semester starts. I'm looking over at that bicycle path on the other side of the road. I see how it's nicely shaded. I really wanted to go over there, but unfortunately there was a whole bunch of cars that are blocking me. Not on my lane, but on the opposing lane. Talking about that, there are some bicycle paths in the dunes here I want to explore, but not today. Today I want to go right to the lighthouse. I want to see if it's low tide, I can take this bicycle out on the sandbar, because that is fun. There's a family I'm coming up upon. I kind of want to cross the road before then, though. If I could cross the road, I will. They got the best real estate location here. Oh, I'm already tired bicycling. I'm tired. Right. Look out. These people are coming back from the beach, maybe? Morning.